Oh man, this is crazy. It's been some time since I've been back in front of this video, in front of this camera. I don't even know where to begin, man. I was just watching my first ever YouTube video on my phone, and it was crazy. It's crazy to see how far I've come, man. It's crazy to see where I'm at versus where I was in 2019. I took that video, I think, at the end of 2019 or whenever the beginning of the pandemic was, right before COVID-19 hit, man. And I was at a stage in my life where I was so, I wouldn't say alone, but I had learned how to be alone. I had learned how to process my childhood trauma and process, my own emotions as a man and my own feelings as a man. And I really just learned how to, for the first time in my life, be alone. And it was one of the hardest things I had done. But looking back on watching that video, man, I am so strong for making it through what I had made through. If you're curious about what it is that I'm talking about, definitely go back and watch that video. Like I said, it was my first ever YouTube video on this channel from 2019. But I don't want to get caught up too much on that. First and foremost, man, I'm back, man. I'm back making YouTube videos. I don't even want to say I'm back because I really never got into it. But this is my introduction video for so much more to come. Lots has changed. I don't even know where to get started, but so much has changed, and that's gonna have to be a whole video in itself. But I just want to get on here and say how excited I am to share my day-to-day life with you guys. The process of where my life is headed and where it is at currently, versus where it was at in that video. There is so much that I have learned throughout this process, throughout these, past 2.5, however many years it has been. I'm more motivated now than I have ever been. I don't want to say that I am necessarily money driven, but I would be lying if I said that I'm not, because when I made that video, man, I was broke. I was down bad, but I had to learn what it meant to go without everything before I received the blessing that I am in currently. And now being in the position that I am, working how I am, I'd be lying if I said money isn't one of the main things that I am pushing for right now. So going forward with this channel, man, I really want to not only encourage the youth, but I want to motivate men to be their best selves, man. In the state of our society right now, it is so almost fucking frowned upon to be comfortable in your masculinity, whatever that means for you. Masculinity these days is seen as toxic, and it is seen as such a negative thing, as if we're aggressive, we're toxic, we're pigs, we're this, we're that. And that is not me making excuses for the men that, do have those traits, and that is very much real. But I don't want that to be, the first thought that comes into people's minds when they think of masculinity and they think of what it means to be a man. I think, at this point in time in our society, men need each other more now than ever. And we need leaders, man. We need leaders. So I want to be able to speak for men, and I want to be able to encourage men to be their best selves, whatever that means for them, and I want to encourage them to find their purpose. Back watching that video, my first ever YouTube video, I wouldn't say I was necessarily without purpose, but I was in this in-between stage of who I once was and who I was becoming. And because of that reason, I didn't necessarily have a purpose for life. I learned what it meant to love myself. I learned what it meant to be by myself, and be without a woman, and be without family, and be without really anybody, because I was forced to be in that position through the pandemic of just sitting here in my crib all by myself. But now where I am at, it's just so different. It's so different yet similar. And looking back and watching that video, who I am today, I would have been so proud, to see this version of myself now. So now seeing, that younger version of me, if I can speak to, whether that be men who are older than me or men who are younger than me or whatever the case is, or the same age as me, if I can be of some sort of influence, because it is hard, man. It is so hard waking up every single day as a man and realizing, you don't always have somebody to count on. And that's not taking anything away from women. That's not saying that, women always have somebody to count on, because that's not always the case. But, it's different. It is very different the way that we grow into society as men versus being a woman. I can't necessarily sit here and speak for the women and what's that like being a woman, but I can sit here and I can speak for being a man. And coming from me being a man, I understand how hard it is, and I understand the expectations that society has for us, and I understand the expectations that I have of myself. Every day I wake up and I judge myself, and I want to be better, and I need to be making this amount of money, and I need to be doing this, and I gotta have this, and I gotta have this, and it's all these materialistic things, and it's constant chatter in the back of my head, constantly just telling me that I need to be better, need to be better, need to be better, need to be better. So with that being said, I want to be able to give guys someone to relate to, and someone to look up to, and someone to, someone who has came from nothing, like understanding that you guys can do it too, and there is a way out. There's so many friends that I had, I grew up in the projects. For those of you guys that don't know me, man, I grew up in such a terrible neighborhood around gangs, like gun violence, drugs. There was SWAT teams kicking in doors, like crazy shit, man. And I grew up around that, and I have these young men that are my age. I'm a young man, but I have these young men that are on my Snapchat or my Instagram or whatever it may be, and they are still living that life, and they still have yet to get out of the streets. They have yet to recognize that there is more to life than gangbanging and selling dope and sleeping with chicks. Like, there is so much more to life, and it's hard when you grow up in the trenches, you know what I'm saying, and you don't know anything else. Like, how can you know that there's more to life if perspective is reality? If you grew up in the projects and all you know is low income housing, living check to check, or at the end of the month, no food in the fucking fridge, and you're waiting on your food stamps to come in, like, how do you know that there's more to life unless you go about seeking otherwise? You know what I'm saying? So I want to give those guys an opportunity to see that there is a way out, and it's different. It's a different kind of lifestyle. Like, getting out of that neighborhood. I moved out of that neighborhood when I was, I don't know, 12 years old or something, and I moved in with my father, and he was I wouldn't say that he was necessarily broke, but he was check to check. He was a hardworking man, and I don't have a relationship with my father anymore, but he was a hardworking man. but there was never enough money. You know what I'm saying? Like there was never enough money. But it took me getting out of that neighborhood to realize, okay, there is a little bit more to life, but you really have to work hard. And then seeing my grandparents, I spent a lot of time with my grandparents growing up. Like, again, they weren't the richest people, but they had more money than my father. And seeing, like, okay, there's a little bit more to life. So, then I started to realize, like, okay, I don't have to be broke. But then, where I'm at now, in the position that I am in, I've seen so much money. I've seen so much. Where it is that I work, there's multi-millionaires, and I've worked with these celebrities. I didn't want to get into it, but I'm a personal trainer now, and that'll be a whole nother video. But I've worked with these celebrities, and I've gotten to train celebrities and their agents, and they got, I call it they got funny money, like it's stupid money, where it's the money that you see in movies. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm in this position where I'm seeing these actors, and I'm seeing people at work pull up in Lambos, and I'm seeing them pull up in the Bentleys, and I'm seeing them flex all this money. But now where I'm at, I'm like, why can't that be me? Why can't that be me? You know what I'm saying? Like when I was young in the projects, like that was only something that you see on movies. Now I'm witnessing people that got cars like I do shoes. Like I change shoes every day, and they do the same thing with their cars, which is very insane to see, and I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it, because I understand that it's something that I can achieve for myself, and for my future family, and break those generational curses. And my kids aren't gonna have to grow up broke how I did. My kids aren't gonna have to go to sleep for dinner and all this shit like how I did. But you know what I'm saying? It's my point in saying that is to say this: perspective is reality. So when you surround yourself with, as a man, you surround yourself with gangs and gun violence and negativity and broke people, and all you listen to is, that kind of music that influences that. There's nothing wrong with that kind of music, but I listen to it myself. But when that's all you surround yourself with, how are you supposed to get out of that? How are you supposed to recognize that there is more to life if that is all that you allow yourself to know? And I wouldn't necessarily say that I push that upon myself. I'm very thankful because I got put in these positions. It was never given to me, but I did things without even knowing it that put me in positions to get out of the hood, and then out of my dad's, and then out of my grandparents, and then into the position that I am today. And now I see it, and I'm like, it's possible. I know it's possible because this person did it. But before, it was like I said, it was something that you only saw in movies. Like growing up with my friends, like we used to watch these movies, and I didn't think it was. It's almost as if it's make believe, to pull up in these cars and to swipe your card without looking at the amount that's due. It's like it's possible, and now that I know it's possible, I won't stop until I get it. And I went off on a little tangent there, man, but this is my introduction video to what is to come. And for those of you that plan to follow, I appreciate you guys. I'm super excited along this journey. And like I said, I'm very excited to show the world what it is that I have to offer, and show the people that look forward to my type of content that it is possible, but it does take hard work. It takes long days, man. Early mornings, late nights. You know what I'm saying? Early mornings, late nights, back to back to back to back. And it's like I said, I'll get more into my work later on, but now I'm coming up on I think like past a year and a half in my profession of working full time as a personal trainer. And a lot of personal trainers don't get to do they don't get to be full-time trainers. You know, it's a hard job, but I sacrificed, man, and I didn't leave that gym, and I fucking I made it happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's my point. My point is, it's hard work. You know, it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of, you know, restless nights and lots of days where you're tired and you don't want to get up, but you force yourself to get up anyways. But I'll get more into that in another video. That's all I got for you guys today, man. But like I said, moving forward, I'm very excited. Yeah, thank you for watching.